Welcome to the final assignment in Leadership Studies 1 for 2018. I am excited to join you on this discovery as I've learned a lot from discussing leadership theories, styles, critical developmental factors, as well as organizational health. So, in this assessment, we will observe a specific organization's culture, their why, their mission, the overall organizational health, as well as what I've learned because of it. I want you to join me on this discovery as we will look at West Point Military Academy. Let's go. Today, we will be observing West Point Military Academy. West Point Military Academy forms part of the United States Military Academy, who has been generating leaders of character for the US Army for over 200 years. West Point specifically provides a 47-month leadership development grounded in ethical foundations and rigid physical training. Jim Collins, the renowned leadership expert and author of various books such as Good to Great, committed 2 years of his life to observing and studying the culture at West Point Military Academy. During his 2 years, he facilitated training sessions, talks, discussions, as well as day-to-day conversations with cadets and corporals to identify what makes these people tick. In the Re-Education of Jim Collins, an article published by Inc.com, we read of this experience. So, to start off our own discovery, our first point of exploration is to ask ourselves, what is the culture like at West Point Military Academy? We will look at this through the eyes of Jim Collins, as well as through a bit of personal research done. So, the question is, what is their culture like? It is clear from reading the article as well as observing their website, photos, etc., that the culture of West Point is driven by excellence. This rigid 47-month program demands of cadets to follow rigid training in both military practices as well as personal discipline. Each cadet is held accountable to a standard of excellence of doing things according to a set military standard. West Point is known for not only being a tertiary education, but demanding something more significant and more costly from the students or the cadets in their midst. As you can see from the photo, this is exactly what happens, that a set standard is asked of students for them to step into. It is the culture in which a cadet walks into, where they are expected to function in excellence in both their personal disciplines as well as the training they undergo. Second, is excellence not only a great value in the culture, but competition is as well. Jim Collins describes this from his experience while completing the IOCT, the Indoor Obstacle Course training with them. He immediately sensed an atmosphere of determination and competition amongst the cadets. This is, of course, natural due to the expectations set by the corporals. The 3.5-minute graduation time for this course is set specifically to make sure each student stays physically fit, which in turn breeds competition. But, I would remark, a healthy competition. The third aspect of the culture is productivity. West Point Military Academy is not only a military academy per se, but is also a tertiary institution that provides a holistic development for the students or cadets attending. The various academic, sport, as well as cultural educational possibilities provide this holistic development, which in turn creates a culture of productivity within the academy. As mentioned by the article, students are required to have busy schedules. Each student has a busy schedule, which is remarked by Jim Collins. But what is most profound regarding the culture of excellence, the culture of competition, the culture of productivity, is the final aspect of their culture, which unifies each aspect beautifully. Yes, the final and most essential aspect of their culture is their sacrifice and willingness to sacrifice for their fellow cadets. As observed by both Jim as well as this specific photo, the culture of sacrifice runs deep within the marrow of this institution. This photo is a great example of it. This photo depicts the memorial service of a fellow cadet. And it is evident that a bond of fraternity, as one can say, is evident from the culture of sacrifice. This, for me, in turn, speak of a leadership approach from West Point Academy that is both transformational and servant leader at the same time. Transformational is that the leaders expect something of the cadets. They have a set standard that the cadets can reach, but the focus is for them to grow as people, and this starts by them serving them. This is evident in their culture of sacrifice, that we lay down our lives for one another. If I'm the leader or the cadet, the corporal or the cadet, I'm willing to lay down my life for you. The question is are you? And that culture, that leadership approach is sustained by their culture of excellence, productivity, competition, and sacrifice. Simon Sinek, the renowned author, the speaker and leadership expert, provides in his TED Talk, Our Great Leaders Inspire Actions, a possible solution to their culture. You see, the question is why are they willing to lay down their lives for one another? Why is their culture based on excellence, productivity, competition, and sacrifice? Why do they do what they do? Sinek asks this same question. What is their motivation? What is their driving force? Why do they do what they do? For in turn, it will reveal to us what they believe and what West Point is truly built on. So, what is West Point Military Academy's why? This is their why. To develop leaders of character committed to duty, honor, and country. The next question, in turn, is because we know our why, we want to know what we are going to do next. We want to know what our mission is. Why are we here? What are we going to do? So what is West Point's mission? To educate, to train, and to inspire up and coming leaders to be, in order for them to become leaders of character who will serve their country well and true, in duty and honor. This mission, to train, to educate, and to inspire, is sustained, is supported by their culture of excellence, competition, productivity, and sacrifice. It is evident that their culture makes sure that the natural habit, the natural circumstances, the natural environment of West Point is fertile for people to grow into their mission. This is what inspired me, as well as Jim Collins, on how people thrive in a rigorous culture. The answer? Their why was strong. Their why supported the mission. Their why gave substance, gave meaning to the mission. So, with this said, what am I taking away? What have I learned? What am I observing of a healthy organization? What am I taking away not only from West Point Military Academy, not only from Jim Collins, but from leadership studies in general? How has my life changed because of this course? What am I taking away? I have 3 lessons, and I would like to share these lessons with you. Lesson number 1. You must believe in someone to be able to serve them. The expectation at West Point Military Academy is high for 2 reasons, I suggest. First, to make sure that the cadets are at a specific level of functioning as they leave the institution, but also, I suggest, for a second reason. The corporals, the leaders of this institution, believe in the potential of the cadets. That is why they serve them. Their belief in the cadets drive what they do and why, ultimately, they serve them and why they become people who serve others. Belief tells me what I see in you. This is what I will serve so that it becomes a reality in your life. I can see what you can become, and I will serve you for you to be able to become it, for you to be able to grow into that space. I believe this is what makes West Point Military Academy successful. I believe this determines and shows me that they are healthy for existing for over 200 years. They are doing something right. They are serving people in a way that they want to become people who serve others. I specifically learn a lot from this. Lesson number 2. If the culture is competitive, unity is held if the mission involves us all. That's why I say the mission is the link between unity and competition. You see, I asked the question when seeing that West Point is so competitive yet thriving at the same time. My question is, are we fighting for each other or are we fighting alongside each other? Are we moving in the same direction? Are we creating momentum as an institution in between ourselves in how we treat each other, in how we engage with one another, or are we creating strife? The glue, you see, the missing ingredient is our mission. Are we heading in the same direction? Are we here for the same cause? I believe that is what makes West Point healthy in another sense, is they share a deeply rooted mission amongst all. And this gives them the ability to not only serve one another, but to push one another, to become what we can, to be what West Point Military Academy stands for. I have learned a lot in God. The third lesson I've learned is that a culture of honor is irreplaceable. It is the heartbeat of an organization. It is a necessity. What I've learned from this is that where people feel valued, using West Point as an example, people will trust you with their lives for a greater cause than their lives in general. You see, people commit themselves fully when we create as leaders a safety or a culture of honor for them to thrive and feel safe within. West Point demands from their students, but also provides for them. They ask, but give also. I believe this is critical in any leader's approach, especially regarding West Point's transformational and servant leader approach. People will add value the moment they feel valued. This is the responsibility of any leader, of any corporal, to make sure people feel valued, seen, honored, belonging in the culture. because then they will give their lives, give their everything, give 47 months of their lives to you, to better the cause we all work for, to better the cause we all stand for. I believe this is a culture the leader creates in an organization, and I believe this finally is what makes West Point so successful. For me as a leader, this is something I strive to create in the areas I work in, and one day being a team leader, being a leader within an organization, this is something I have learned in leadership studies that is crucial, in order to better not only the mission, not only the organization, but individuals most of all. I want to thank you for joining me on this discovery of West Point Military Academy's culture. I believe we have seen a lot, we have learned a lot from them, with Jim Collins alongside us. And I think we have asked ourselves very important questions on leadership culture, on why the why is important, on what we stand for and what direction we are moving in. I believe we can take a lot from West Point Military Academy and apply it into our own lives, and I believe I can apply it in my own life for where I am at this moment. So I want to thank you for joining me on this discovery, and I believe we can only do better and make better where we go from what we have learned from West Point. I want to thank you, and yeah, bye bye.